Good afternoon, fellow FINEX members and guests. Welcome to the second general membership meeting of FINEX for 2021. I'm Ed Francisco, President of Video Capital. I'm a past FINEX President and a past IAFE Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, to formally open the program, may I call our President, Attorney Francis Lim, to call this meeting to order.
Thank you very much, Ed. Good afternoon, FINEX members and guests. I now call the second general membership meeting of the year to order. Good afternoon. Capital market development has been a principal advocacy of FINEX. FINEX, as the co-chair of the Capital Market Development Council, or CMDC, has been one of the prime movers in furthering the advancement of the Philippine capital market to be at par in the region. In 2020, the CMDC approved the 5-year capital markets roadmap, or the blueprint. The blueprint, covering the framework with reference to the national policy Ambisyon Natin 2040, is in line with the Philippines' aspiration to have a deep, robust, liquid, world-class capital market, which remains to be an aspiration to date. The 4 core areas of the blueprint include equities, fixed income securities, alternative products, and a new one, contractual savings and pension. The blueprint is an ambitious undertaking and will need the collective support of FINEX, the private sector partners, and the government to make it happen. Today, we are very, very privileged and honored to have no less than the Chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Chairman Emil Aquino, to share with us the principal features of the roadmap and his invaluable insights on how the SEC plans to expedite the implementation of the action plans indicated in the blueprint. Thank you, Chair Emil, for gracing this occasion. In response to our members' desire for our organization to be more relevant on the national front, we led 50 private sector organizations in urging the swift passage of the CREATE Bill, which seeks, among others, to reduce corporate income tax rates. Subsequently, we issued a public statement thanking Congress for passing the bill. For the information of our members, the reduced corporate income tax rates will take effect as originally planned on July 1, 2020, despite the late enactment of the bill into law. That was one of our requests in our public statement. Thanks to the National Affairs Committee led by Director Toti Bengson and Governor Saiti Tanco, and the Tax and Legal Committee led by Uni Perez and Dick Dubaladat for their invaluable help on the matter. It's not easy to get 50 other organizations to join us in this endeavor. Likewise, we issued a public statement against amending the Constitution at this time. We urge Congress to instead pass the economic bills. In our mind, amending the Constitution is not a silver bullet that will make things happen. What is more important is to liberalize our investment environment, and that can be done through the passage of the economic bills that have been pending in Congress. Thanks again to the National Affairs Committee for its guidance. We attended to the needs of our members for vaccines, and we thank our co-FINEX member Joel Consing of ICSI for accommodating our members' orders for 20,000 doses of Moderna vaccines. Your EVP, Uni, and I continue to attend sessions to get updated on the progress of the acquisition, and we will update you, our members, on the matter. We have started our campaign for this year's year-round membership. We hope that you and your companies will be one of them. The packages include partner for 2 million pesos all year round, platinum for 1 million pesos, diamonds for 750,000, gold sponsor for 500,000, and a bronze or sponsor for 300,000. The sponsors' benefits were adjusted to adapt to the new normal. We hope that this campaign will help us undertake our ambitious programs for the year and to start to establish a sustainability fund for FINEX to ensure its survival in the worst of times. Most important of all, we're launching a massive recruitment campaign to get in new members this year. We have only 431 regular members today. There will be 82 members eligible for life membership this year who will be exempt from paying annual dues. Coupled with resignations of around 50 members based on historical data, the financial future of our organization is at risk. We have to do something drastic in recruiting new members. Towards this end, your board has approved a resolution requiring each director of FINEX and each committee to bring in at least 5 new members this year. Your board relaxed some of the requirements for new members without sacrificing the quality of our membership. The details of the campaign will be announced soon through a circular. I appeal to all of you, our members, to invite your friends and colleagues to join our prestigious organization. In closing, your board and I truly appreciate your continuing support, and we fervently hope for an all-out support this year. Mabuhay ang FINEX at maraming salamat sa lahat.
At this juncture, let me introduce our guest of honor and speaker to today's GMM. Emilio Benito Aquino is the first CPA lawyer appointed as chairperson and CEO of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Ladies and gentlemen, let us give a great welcome for the Honorable Emilio Benito Aquino.
Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant afternoon. We have 2 major mandates as set forth in 2 landmark legislation. First, our role as securities regulator, protecting investors, capital formation, and maintaining a fair, orderly, and transparent capital market. Second is our role as company registrar, improve the ease of doing business, provide for protection of minority stockholders, promote corporate governance, and undertake major organizational development initiatives to help SEC carry out its profound and impactful mandates. How we go about our job is thus critical to the protection of investors and the integrity of our capital markets. We remain relentless in enforcing laws against investment scammers who took advantage of the pandemic to prey on the public. We consistently scored legal victories over perpetrators of investment scams. The high-profile cases in 2020 are the case of CAPA. Our composite law enforcement agencies arrested CAPA Community Ministry International founder Joel Apolinario and 25 others during a bloody operation, which left 2 of the CAPA founders' men killed and another seriously wounded. The case of RJF Construction and Development Corporation. The Quezon City RTC Branch 90 found guilty beyond reasonable doubt 3 scammers for violations of Section 8 of the SRC. Of course, the infamous Calata case. The Court of Appeals has affirmed the indictment of 8 shareholders in Calata Corporation for engaging in trading activities that artificially inflated the price of the company's shares and consequently induced the public to buy them. At present, we are prosecuting 32 individuals charged in 7 cases for violations of the Securities Regulation Code and 2 cases for violations of the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012. For 2020, SEC issued a record high number of advisories cautioning the public to avoid or stop engaging with certain entities involved in fraudulent investment schemes. Of this total, 38 advisories were issued during the ECQ period alone. We successfully obtained judgment of convictions in 4 criminal cases filed before the RTC of Pasay City for violation of the Lending Company Regulation Act, where we have 20 foreigners and 22 Filipinos convicted. A total of 153 individuals, including 66 foreign nationals, were prosecuted by the SEC in 18 cases filed before the RCC. There are likewise 18 cases before the municipal trial courts for falsification of public document or perjury. And today, we revoke the certificate of registration of over 2,000 lending and financing firms for failure to secure a secondary license. We likewise issued CDOs against 58 online lending operators for failure to incorporate and secure a secondary license. And because there were less corporate registrations due to the pandemic, SEC personnel redirected their time and closely monitored, fined, or penalized a total of 195,630 errant firms and individuals for non-compliance with laws being implemented by the Commission. That's almost 800% compared to the previous year. Because of constraints in mobility during the ECQ and GCQ periods, there was a significant decline in company registrations by 37%. We got hit during the second quarter with only 2,000 registrations, but rapidly recovered in the third quarter with over 6,000 registrations. In the fourth quarter, we approved almost 8,000 company registrations, which is about the same level as the pre-pandemic first quarter. We issued a total of 37 impactful SEC memorandum circulars, including 4 which granted regulatory relief, another 4 which operationalized the revised corporation code, including the SEC MC number 6, which provides for guidelines on the attendance and participation through teleconferencing, video conferencing, and other remote or electronic means of communication. And SEC MC number 28, which provides for requirements for corporations, partnerships, associations, and individuals to create and or designate email account address or cell phone number for transactions with the Commission. There were also 3 MCs adopting international standards on anti-money laundering and countering terrorism financing. We got sued in the RTC and the Court of Appeals for requiring disclosure of ultimate beneficial ownership. The RTC dismissed the case while the Court of Appeals denied the prayer for injunctive relief. SEC being the gateway to doing business in the Philippines, we fully supported the establishment and implementation of the following reforms to improve the ease of doing business in the country. The National Business One-Stop Shop, or NBOS, launched on the 28th of February 2020 at our SEC head office. The NBOS is a physical co-location and integration of the processes of the SEC, BIR, SSS, PhilHealth, and Pag-ibig for a streamlined business registration process for the one-person corporation applicants. And the Central Business Portal, or CBP, launched just recently. This is a platform where citizens and business owners can access the forms, information, and requirements they need for their business-related transactions. With the implementation of the NBOS and the CBP, RTAP projects that starting in business can be completed in 9 steps in 7.5 days. A big improvement from the 13 steps in 33 days in the 2020 Doing Business Report. While the 2021 Doing Business Report is not yet published, the World Bank has initially acknowledged and accepted 3 SEC reforms on protecting minority investors. These reforms are projected to increase the country's score from 62.8 to 63.4 and rank from 95th to 94th place. And the PMI ranked from the 72nd to the 51st place. It may be recalled that your SEC contributed most in the improvement of our ranking in the DB, or the Doing Business Report, in the previous year. While new company registrations went down due to the pandemic, in the capital market, we saw significant increase in the amount of securities registered in 2020. Almost 300% increase compared to registrations in 2018 and 2019. The stock market has recovered since March 13, 2020, a day after the announcement of community quarantine amid the COVID-19 pandemic, and sustained its recovery for the rest of the year till this day. The ADB reports that the total local currency bond outstanding in the Philippines reached 8,136.4 billion pesos. That's 167.8 billion US dollars at the end of September, on growth of 8.8% quarter-on-quarter and 21.5% year-on-year. The government and corporate bond markets grew over 10% quarter-on-quarter and almost 4% quarter-on-quarter respectively, and comprise almost 18% and 21% of the local currency bond market. On REITs, the SEC, together with the DOF, the BIR, and PSE, launched in January 2020 the amendments to the regulations governing REIT. Ayala Land's A-REIT launched the first REIT offering and listing in the Philippines, raising 13.57 billion for reinvestment in the Philippines. Double Dragon Properties Corporation submitted its REIT plan last November with a maximum offer worth 15 billion pesos. The portfolio consists of 3 commercial properties comprising 6 office towers with retail components in the Double Dragon Meridian Park. The SEC also issued the rules on corporate debt vehicle, or CDV, to support the liquidity needs of large corporations and medium-sized enterprises in the middle and aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic. A CDV is a closed-end investment company that issues or offers for sale its securities consisting of either shares of stocks or units of participation in such CDV to any number of qualified buyers and or non-qualified buyers not exceeding 19 persons in the Philippines during the 12-month period, with the specific objective of investing in the corporate debts of large corporations and medium-sized enterprises. We are currently reviewing one application of a prospective CDB. After 2 decades since the passage of the Securities Regulation Code, the SEC has finally reformed the governance and ownership structure of the PSE by increasing the number of independent directors. It aligns with the best practices of major and comparable markets in many economies, where independent directors comprise the majority of the board of securities exchanges. The rules provide that independent directors shall constitute at least 1/3 of the members of the board of directors of exchanges and other organized markets. It further requires at least 4 persons representing the interests of issuers, investors, and other market participants, with each sector having at least 1 representative in the board of directors of an exchange or other organized market. The SEC has considered favorably the securitization plan of National Home Mortgage Finance Corporation, covering 319.32 million of its residential loan portfolio. Under the securitization plan, NHMFC will sell a select pool of 1,291 long-term secured residential loans to a special purpose trust known as Balay Bonds 2 Special Purpose Trust. We likewise approve the securitization plan of 8990 Holdings Incorporated, covering 2.13 billion in contract to sell receivables. Under the securitization plan of the firm and its subsidiaries, it will sell to CBC Assets 1 Incorporated receivables from about 2,511 CTS accounts with an original term of up to 25 years. We also approved the country's first crowdfunding portal, the Invest3, a joint venture between Philinvest Development Corporation and Invest3 Singapore Limited. Invest3 is the first crowdfunding intermediary and funding portal registered with the Commission. The SEC or SEC approved the use of Bond.ph app and the PDAX DLT platform to distribute the retail treasury bonds, that's RTV24, to ease access by small investors, including the unbanked. To enable Filipinos abroad to participate, we also cleared the selling of premium bonds and RTVs through Land Bank's Overseas Filipino Bank Mobile Banking App or MBA. Last November 2020, our SEC led the celebration of the first ever Investor Protection Week in line with Proclamation number 846 series of 2019, declaring the second week of November of every year as Investor Protection Week. The celebration included the launch of SEC Campaign Network and the SEC Academy. At present, we have 11 campaign network partners. That's the IBP, PICPA, PSE, ACPAP, of course, FINEX, PIFA, CDC, NYC, OWA, DepEd, and CHED. We had a webinar on doing business and investing safely in the Philippines, designed primarily for senior high school and college students as part of the Commission's strategy to scam-proof Filipinos and tackle investment scams. A total of 22 investor champions composed of bloggers and celebrities were tapped. Hence, we had a total reach of 630,000 through these virtual activities. The SEC effectively maintained its culture of excellence for the benefit of the public it serves, despite the deferment of its strategic projects to give way to the country's COVID-19 emergency response. We successfully expanded the scope of our ISO 9001-2015 certification to cover all core services in the head office and all of its extension offices with zero non-conformity. For the second consecutive year, we obtained unqualified audit rating from the Commission on Audit, or COA. Also, for the second consecutive year, PCOO recognized the SEC as an FOI champion for being one of the top performing agencies in the implementation of the Freedom of Information program. We attained Level 2 maturity, that's process-defined HRM, in performance management and learning and development under the Program to Institutionalize Meritocracy and Excellence in Human Resource Management, or the Prime HRM of the Civil Service Commission. The Philippine Institute of Certified Public Accountants, or PICPA, likewise recognized this humble representation as outstanding CPA in government during their November annual convention. At the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, the SEC promptly carried out immediate response measures to mitigate its adverse effects. The SEC ensured the continued operation of the stock and fixed income markets during the ECQ to ensure that both the government and business sector, particularly small and business enterprise, have continued access to capital or financing. The SEC likewise continued to accept and process online applications for registration of corporations and partnerships, and for its other frontline services. The Commission immediately granted regulatory relief to its regulated entities by extending the period for filing reportorial requirements, providing alternative modes of filing, and suspending the imposition of certain penalties. The SEC directly contributed 2 billion pesos to the Duterte administration's response measures to address the COVID-19 pandemic. The SEC directed lending companies, financing companies, and microfinance NGOs to comply with the mandatory grace period for all loans and provide other relief measures to cushion the adverse impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on borrowers. During the early stage of the COVID-19 pandemic, government made a call for volunteers to undertake mass testings of panic-stricken OFWs. At least 4 of our SEC professionals came forward as volunteer swabbers. Now, let me tackle our SEC Supervision 2025, which is our North Star that kept us on track so far. It's a 7-year roadmap that we devised for the SEC during my 7-year term as chairperson. The capital market development blueprint is aligned to it. Our big, hairy, audacious goal, or BHAG, at the SEC is that by 2049, our driven, highly trained, and customer-centric SEC team and its distinct ability to embrace cutting-edge and innovative technology will have enabled the transformation of the Philippines into the best business sector and capital market of choice. For the medium term, we envision that by 2025, the SEC, with its driven, highly trained, and customer-centric team of professionals equipped with innovative technology and automated registration and data management systems, is the premier investor champion and catalyst of a broadened and informed investor-based capital market and business sector considered among the best in the Southeast Asian region. To ensure a holistic and balanced approach, our strategic objectives or broad priorities represent the four perspectives of customer, stakeholder, internal processes, learning and organizational growth, and finance. We have a total of 13 strategic objectives. To attain our strategic objectives, we will continue to carry out our 10 strategic initiatives with some adjustments in our schedules due to the pandemic. Number 1, the SRC and RCC compliance of regulated entities, or SCORE, to promote good corporate governance and broaden investor participation through reforms in capital market formation, accreditation and licensing, compliance, governance reforms initiatives and trends, and certification examination for capital market professionals. Number 2, IT's green and green. Leverage on ICT to enable SEC to become a business-friendly registrar and reliable data provider. Number 3, priority legislative agenda or plan. Pursue legislative reforms for more effective and efficient regulation. Number 4, SEC CAN, or the Communication, Advocacy, and Network. Intensify investor education and protection in partnership with the SEC Campaign Network. By 2022, we plan to complete the following: our Media Center, the SEC Academy, and the SEC Campaign Network, and the annual Investor Protection Week. Number 5, Project Quest, or Quality and Excellence in Service Delivery and Talent Development. So we will be carrying out the following: maintenance of the ISO 9001:2015 certification, achieve the Philippine Quality Award, its Government Excellence Self-Assessment Tool, and attain Prime HRM Level 3 compliance. Number 6, CRISP, or Client-Centric Re-engineering and Innovation of Systems and Procedures. We will streamline systems and procedures towards ease of doing business and customer delight. Number 7, gearing up the Enforcement and Investor Protection Program. We will strengthen enforcement capacity and equipment to prevent investment scams and protect investors. Number 8, secure, strengthening expertise and competence to uphold and raise the bar of excellence. Continuously upgrade the organizational structure and create an enabling work environment to attract and retain the best and the brightest professionals. We aim to achieve the following by 2022. FINEX, the FinTech Office, short for FinTech and Innovative Securities and Exchanges Office. We have the Cyber and Forensic Division, the Compliance Examination and Audit Unit, our International Affairs Unit, and the Investor Education Unit. Number 9, we also have our version of the SEC Build. And number 10, strengthening financial accountability management. Confucius once said, "When it is obvious that the goals cannot be reached, don't adjust the goals. Adjust the action steps." Some key drivers are influencing priorities and regulatory agenda. Investor protection and financial stability are the bulwarks of much financial services regulation. But the impacts of the pandemic and lockdown measures have brought additional topics to the fore. It has accelerated trends in the use of technology and demands for sustainable finance. Because of the pandemic, our IT initiatives were hastened. Thus, we have the first initiative, the Company Investments and Financial Statistical System, or SIPS, with its online submission tool. We will have its beta launch, which already commenced actually this week. Now, it will allow the uploading of files through a web interface. This will save the SEC a significant amount of resources, both time and manpower, in accepting, analyzing, and safekeeping of compliance reports and documents. Number 2, we have the electronic system for processing and regulation of corporations. That's eSpark. eSpark 1 will be launched in May 2021 to replace the existing Company Registration System, or CRS, and less than 5 systems, migrating and cleansing existing data moving forward, and providing componentized services to be used by eSpark 2. Now, eSpark 2 will be developed in partnership with the ADB as the new company registration system. The terms of preference and other details are currently being finalized. Our target implementation is first quarter of 2022. Number 3, the FinTech and Innovative Securities and Exchanges, or FinTech's office, will be launched in May 2021 as an ad hoc group to be spun off as a standalone office in 2022 pursuant to Section 37 of the Securities Regulation Code. Said Innovation Office is created to address and adapt to the ever-changing financial markets and to facilitate the introduction of new technologies for the benefit of investors and the efficiency and resiliency of our capital markets. It will also facilitate and spur innovations in RegTech and SupTech. It will zero in on SME listing, innovative securities, and innovative markets through our regulatory inbox. These programs and projects will be further reinforced by our digital transformation and technology modernization roadmap, which will focus on transforming procedural environments, policy environments, and adopting the requisite tools such as software, equipment, and appliances that traverse a full ICT solution stack and the transformation of requisite behavior. It will transform and refine the flow of information within the SEC as the country's corporate repository, as it interfaces and extends to external partners such as other government agencies, corporate enterprise partners, and the transacting public. Its strategic goals are as follows: model a well-designed, efficient system and methodology for transformation and automation that can be replicated across the whole government. Institutionalized transformation as an intrinsic and enduring part of the continual improvement and operations management practices of the Commission. And to transform SEC to become a wellspring of harmonized and credible data, intelligent and actionable information, and curated and enriched knowledge about all things pertaining to the Philippine economy. The roadmap covers 3 critical to quality CTQ components of transformation. That's service procedural transformation, policy transformation, and technology modernization. The roadmap's high-level timelines run through 2020 to 2025 in consonance with the SEC Supervision 2025. It is broken into 3 time frames: 2020 to 2021, 2021 to 2023, and 2023 to 2025. Now, let's discuss in detail our strategic objectives to attain our Supervision 2025 in relation to capital market development. 3 of our strategic objectives on stakeholder engagement directly relate to capital markets development. We aim to satisfy our stakeholders in the capital markets by being the proactive and effective investor champion, good corporate governance, sustainable development, and stakeholder-centric advocate, and capital market catalyst and educator that broadens investor participation. As I proceed to discuss this in detail, I will also point out those priorities that are related to or aligned with the Commission's deliverables under the Capital Market Development Blueprint. In the further pursuit of our objective to be a proactive and effective investor champion, we aim to improve our regulated entities' compliance with the Commission's rules and regulations. We want to ensure that the actors that are critical to the efficient functioning of the capital markets are able to perform their respective roles in an effective and ethically sound manner. These include broker-dealers, SROs, PLCs, investment companies, asset valuers, credit rating agencies, and external auditors. Let us move on to the second strategic objective I'd like to share with you today. We at the SEC aim to be a good corporate governance, sustainable development, and stakeholder-centric advocate. We target to progressively increase the number of Philippine companies awarded for adopting good corporate governance and sustainable business practices. As chairperson of the corporate governance working group of the ASEAN Capital Markets Forum, I am pleased to note that in the 2019 ASEAN Corporate Governance Scorecard Awards, of the top 20 ASEAN PLCs which garnered the highest ACGS scores, 4 are from the Philippines. 19 of the Pioneer ASEAN Asset Class awardees, or those which garnered a score of 97.5 and above, are likewise from the Philippines. As part of our advocacy, we intend to increase the amount of green, social, and sustainability bonds issued by Philippine firms. This is also in line with our commitment under the CMD Blueprint to promote environmental, social, and governance (ESG) principles as part of the goal to increase issuer participation in fixed income markets. We are pleased to note that as of 31 January 2021, the total ASEAN labeled green, social, and sustainability bonds issued amounted to $8.58 billion, of which $3.85 billion, or 45%, were issued by Philippine companies. We target to progressively increase the microfinance NGOs delivered products and services to foster local enterprise development and social entrepreneurship. As of the third quarter last year, the microfinance NGOs provided 51.4 billion worth of microfinance and allied services to poor and low-income clients. We aim to increase the amount of investments in legitimate collective investment schemes, or the CISL, that is, mutual funds, and of course, pending the passage of the CIS law, unit investment trust funds, or UITFs, and variable universal life, or VULs. In 2020, mutual funds investments reached a total of 331 billion pesos, a considerable growth from 2019's 285.8 billion pesos. We are expecting a positive investment trajectory as well with UITFs and BULs once the collective investment schemes law is passed. We are likewise determined to be the capital market catalyst and educator that broadens investor participation. We want to continually increase retail participation in the capital market and various investment products. This includes equity, bonds, and other fixed income products, REITs, crowdfunding securities, digital asset, commodity futures contracts, and blue bonds. Ultimately, we aim to increase the size of the capital market relative to the GDP. In 2020, the attained relative size are as follows. Equity, market capitalization relative to GDP is 84.2%. Bonds, size of local currency bond market in percent of GDP, 50.88%. And for REITs, capital raised relative to GDP equals 0.07%. Relatedly, under the CMD blueprint, we commit to introduce the overnight index swap or OIS market in partnership with the Bankers Association of the Philippines. This is in line with the CMD blueprint's objective to increase issuer participation in the fixed income markets. Likewise, broaden repo and securities lending to non-banks in partnership with the Bureau of Treasury and BAP. This is in line with the CMD blueprint's objective to improve the participation of market intermediaries in fixed income securities. This initiative includes guidance on safe harbor, migration to a more robust system for repo transactions, and participation of trust, insurance companies, and the likes in the repo market. Migrate to a more stable and reliable benchmark to facilitate the onboarding of investors and increase investor activity. In line with this, we extended the license of the BAP as benchmark administrator until March of this year and conducted corresponding on-site audit in November last year. We'll also increase issuance of asset-backed securities to increase issuer participation in alternative products. Build the database of pension assets and liabilities to monitor funding levels in line with the CMDC initiative to increase the institutional investor base. I have so far shared with you our overall strategy map and 3 strategic objectives on capital markets development. At this point, I will share our strategic objectives to operationalize these strategic objectives and attain the corresponding targets that I have just discussed. I will focus on 3 of our strategic initiatives or projects, that is SCORE, PLAN, and SEC CAN. Okay. For SCORE, SRC and RCC compliance of regulated entities, it aims to professionalize regulators and improve their compliance with regulatory requirement and good corporate governance standards. It has 5 components: capital market formation, accreditation and licensing compliance, governance reform initiatives and trends, certification examinations for capital market participants. Under capital market formation, we target to issue and implement the following by next year: rules on umbrella or master fund structure, procedures for one-stop shop registration of CIS and licensing of mutual fund distributor and fund manager, green funds, sustainable funds, and social funds rules, and propose the passage of the Investment Advisors Act and Investors Protection Act. Under the accreditation and licensing component of SCORE, we have started the updating of the SEC Oversight Assurance Review or SOR guidelines, as well as the audit manuals for our internal use in the on-site inspection of accredited credit rating agencies and property valuers. We also target to accredit company formation agents and regulate gatekeepers to further improve the ease of starting a business and the protection of investors, respectively. To strengthen the compliance of our regulated entities, we carried out the following initiatives: development of procedure for off-site and on-site monitoring of investment companies, CIS, briefing of compliance of regulations for investment companies, public companies, and issuers of proprietary, non-proprietary securities. Hold forum meetings between SEC and associations and networks of foundations and microfinance NGOs. Establishment and operation of compliance examination and audit unit. And roundtable discussions or TRDs with mutual fund industry through PIFA and other industry associations. Our governance report, initiatives, and trends include the development and implementation of CG Code for capital market participants. We have also the CG Code for MSMEs. The big component of SCORE is Certification Examination for Capital Market Participants, which is composed of 4 programs. We have the Enhanced Phase 1 and 2 Certification Examinations, Seminars Examination for Capital Market Professionals, and the Continuing Professional Development Program and Equivalency Program. Now, let's proceed to the PLAN or Plan or Priority Legislative Agenda, which aims to pursue legislative reforms for a more effective and efficient regulation. 3 of our priority legislative reforms are likewise our priorities in the CMD Blueprint. That's the FIS or the Financial Institutions Strategic Transfer Bill, GUIDE, which is the Government Financial Institutions Unified Initiatives to Distressed Enterprises for Economic Recovery Bill, and of course the Collective Investment Schemes Law. The SEC has also been pushing for amendments to the Securities Regulation Code. Another supervision initiative is the SEC CAN, Communication Advocacy and Network. Its goal is to intensify investor education and protection in partnership with the campaign network partner organizations. Thus, our key activities would be the establishment of the Media Center, the launch of the SEC Academy, of course, our annual Investor Protection Week celebration, digital campaign, social media campaign, and traditional media campaign. So, finally, I would like to take this opportunity to thank FINEX for supporting the initiatives of the Commission through the campaign network, where FINEX is a partner, the SEC Certification Examinations Body of Knowledge, and of course the CMD Blueprint Formulation and Implementation. We hope to sustain and further deepen our partnership in these areas through more intensive investor education in terms of topics and reach, continuing professional development program for licensed capital market professionals, and the CMD Blueprint monitoring and updating. As a stakeholder-centric organization, we highly value your inputs to draft rules and regulations for capital market development, your support to the passage and implementation of the FIS, GUIDE, and SIS or the CIS bills, and the possible amendment of the SRC, although so many powers had been granted to SEC under the RCC. And of course, your participation in the stakeholder engagement and feedback mechanisms of our digital transformation and technology modernization journey. So with that, I say thank you. It's easy at SEC.
Thank you, Chair Emil, for a very enlightening and comprehensive presentation. I learned so much listening. Anyway, we in FINEX will continue to work with you, Chair, in the SEC,
Yes.
especially in developing the capital market. Right,
Yes.
Dick Dubalada is our current CMDC representative from FINEX.
Yes.
So hopefully we can work with you, and whatever things you need, especially when there are new regulations that you want to get feedback on, please rely on the FINEX members to do that, because I guess FINEX members are issuers, and even are really the issuers and the investors. So we'll have good feedback from us, sir. To formally end our GMM, may I call on President Francis for his closing remarks and to adjourn the meeting. Francis?
Thank you, Ed, for acting as our master of ceremonies, and Malu for ably moderating the forum. It was a very interesting forum. Thank you again, Chair Emil, Commissioners F, Kelvin, and JB. Thank you very much for gracing the occasion. Your presence here is sending a strong message that we are truly supportive of FINEX. Maraming salamat po, no? And with that, I now adjourn the meeting. Thank you. Good afternoon to everybody.